Guys, I hate to do this, but we have to go directly from Yu-Gi-Oh into a little bit of Elestrals. So this probably will make its way onto the clip channel, so let me just give you a little frame of reference for this. I play a significant amount of Elestrals in my free time. It's nice to have a game that I can play that isn't exactly Yu-Gi-Oh. You know what I'm saying? Elestrals, the board states aren't as complex, but it's still super skill testing. I like that it tests a different series of skills than Yu-Gi-Oh! And I've had a ton of fun playing it. Vibrant, interesting community of people. Was not paid to say this. I am not, a holder of Elestral's stock. But there is one weird thing about Elestrals, which is there is a singular deck that is just a lot better than everything else. All right? So, the deck that I'm talking about is a deck called Thunder Nexus, and I think there's probably an Elestral'S video about it. Hold up. Fucking hell. The Elestral'S YouTube channel. So, this deck has been the best deck for a while now. It's arguable that it was the best deck in the first set, but it is no longer arguable if it's the best deck in the second set. And the concept for this deck is that you get to play an incredibly powerful card, Astrabbit, 2 attack, 5 defense, and when it receives a Thunder, you look at the top 3 cards of your deck and add 1 to your hand. And you can trigger this multiple times in a turn with the use of this other card, Sparkitt, which I think is right here. So this card lets you Nexus up to 2 Thunder Spirits, and when you do, rip a card out of your opponent's hand. Your choice. So the setup is you are trying to duality and confiscation on the same chain, right? And this has been the backbone of an incredibly powerful deck forever, and got better with the most recent set because they printed like an undercosted removal spell called Race to the Top for Thunder specifically, with the understanding that like, cool, this is something you can do in Thunder. But it turns out because Astrabbit and Sparkitt form this like this synergistic collective of not only, controlling your opponent's hand, but also getting to see more cards than your opponent, it's almost always online. So there have been rumblings over the course of the third set as to whether Thunder Nexus would still be the best deck. We have most of the third set reveals, and preliminary testing makes it look like it is still, if not the best deck, like a top 2 strategy. So look what I just saw in my fucking sub box.
Thunder Nexus Elestral Sparkitt to Tartarus. Sparkitt has been the topic of tons of debate in the Elestrals community for many months, as it enables the powerful strategy within Thunder Nexus.
Holy shit. This is 5 minutes old. This is their first ban ever.
When used on turn 1, Sparkitt creates an unstable game environment that can be very challenging for opposing players, and truthfully, it's simply unfun. We've seen this.
Okay, so I mean, it should be said that the footage they're showing here is a picture of me Sparkitting on turn 1 and then losing. All right, so
card and deck dominate the competitive scene, and while my initial plan was to hold off on banning this card, after much consultation and deliberation, I believe banning Sparkitt outright is what's best for Elestrals moving forward.
Okay, so regrettably, could not agree more. I think that like Coder et al. Were in favor of a version of this hit where they banned Astrabbit, and I think that's like so fucking stupid. I think Astrabbit is really cool as a utility Elestral, and while he is hard to get over and incredibly powerful and protects himself by searching the cards that protect him off the top of the deck, the payoffs to Astrabbiting are kind of few and far between unless you're triggering it multiple times at a turn. You can do that with a back row like Altar of Stars, which is admittedly very good, but also very telegraphed and very susceptible to resting. But Sparkitt is far and away the best way that you can trigger it. Secondly, hand rip. What the fuck? Why did you print fucking hand rip? Don't do that. That shit is not fun for anyone.
Our newest set, Daybreak, introduces 2 key cards, Glimbat and Dense Fog, which can provide some counterplay to Sparkitt. But even with that, the knowledge and hand rip effect that Sparkitt generates in conjunction with the other consistency tools within the Thunder Nexus deck have proven to be problematic.
So this is unfortunately a kind of weird situation. Dense Fog's crazy, of course, but they had printed a hand trap specifically for Sparkitt, which is like terrible. Like, I'm not playing a card that narrow.
Ultimately leading
but
to
now there's a card in the format that does nothing.
Who knew all of the answers and could foresee all of the potential problem cards. I simply am not. Sparkitt in its prototype phase was weaker and did a random discard, which was changed at the last minute in testing to provide a
last minute changed from random to targeted. You've got to be fucking with me. That's the difference between an unplayable card and the best card in the game. Are you fucking me? At last second, we thought, why make it random? To make it targeted.
A power level bump.
This is the most skull clamped I've seen since Skull Clamp.
I've made in designing Elestral'S, and simply I want to try to fix that to make the game more enjoyable for the future. Effective August 5th, Sparkitt will no longer be legal.
Oh, fuck. No, that's too soon. Too soon, Executus. Oh, organized play doesn't start till September 1st. I'm not going to be able to roll kids at a local with this fucking setup. Piss.
Any officially sanctioned Elestral events, and will continue to monitor the health of the game. Daybreak will introduce a new Thunder Nexus Elestral called Larvacell, and I can also confirm...
Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. The difference between proccing Astrabbit twice with Larvacell and proccing it with Sparkitt, it's night and day. I think this guy is good, but come on.
Set 4 will also introduce a Thunder Nexus Celestial to provide more consistency options for those decks. My team and I put our heads together, and I believe we found a very awesome and fun solution for cards like Sparkitt, who are banished to Tartarus in the future. Which, by the way, I hope to not have to do this too often. This is an extreme case, but again, even with hundreds and thousands of games of testing, it's hard to be perfect, and sometimes cards just get away from you. Like I said, I think our solution is awesome and really innovative compared to what other games are doing.
What are you, awesome and innovative? Fucking ban list.
Sparkitt is going to re-release with a new common card next year in set 5 called Sparkitt Escape from Tartarus.
Okay, that's fucking sick. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, that's actually fucking sick. Never mind. That's dope as fuck. Hold up.
This new titled Sparkitt card will feature a nerfed effect and stats to bring it to a more sustainable and appropriate...
Okay, this card, by the way, this version of the card, a 3-1 that is random discard, this is completely fine. In my opinion, this is an okay card.
Power level. The effect on screen is subject to change as we begin testing this new card immediately in the midst of our set 5 testing. Thank you guys for your support, and I look forward to your
that's pretty dope. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty fucking dope. That's kind of cool.
Forward. Until next time.
And he's smaller? Yeah. Okay. That's okay. I think that's the most elegant solution to the problem. I think Kevin was like in on, you need to make Astrabbit an X4. It's like, no, we're not doing like printed erratas. But for the record, I voted against this. People are babies about hand attack, and I refuse to indulge that. Take that Thoughtseize on the chin and keep playing. You're an adult. When I got Ash and I lost, ass complaints. Ban Astrabbit. Siberian, you just come from a world of you come from a different world, you know? You ever talk to someone who was like homeschooled and like they're like, oh yeah, I mean, we all know that bedtime is 8 p.m. And you go, no, we don't. You know you don't have to live like this, right? That's how I feel talking to Magic the Gathering players. You know you don't have to put up with IOK. It's actually all right that you don't like Thoughtseize. Hymn to Torok isn't fun. You can say it out loud. Well, him is a different story. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I think hand loops are overhated. I think that's probably true as well. And I think this guy's going to eat a perma. IOK and Thoughtseize are fun. You don't have to be this way. Didn't you say duo isn't a problem? Well, duo isn't a problem because it's random and then selected. But sometimes you got to mull to 5 and you get Thoughtseized. I mean, yeah, you know what? Just to entertain Siberian's stupid ass mentality, let me give you sort of like an overview of why I dislike specifically Sparkitt. So I think the thing that people are mostly frustrated about is twofold. Firstly is turn 1 Sparkitt. We'll talk about turn 1 Sparkitt really briefly. It's Thoughtseize. It takes a card out of your opponent's hand. The problem is, Magic the Gathering, there's a significant amount of cards it can't take, which is lands, obviously. Every card is available to hit in your opponent's hand in Elestral'S. Which means that you can take not only the removal spell that would challenge the Sparkitt, but you also get to play with perfect information to the back row for the rest of the game, which is super important because the back row in Elestral'S is game determinative. It'd be like, instead of knowing like, oh, I know what 4-drop is coming, you knew every single play that was going to happen for the rest of the game. Additionally, the fact that it's only really good on turn 1 means that you get into these situations where it's like, oh, I lost the die roll, so like now I lose the game immediately, rather than being like, oh, I won the die roll, my opponent has turn 1 Sparkitt, but I set my whole hand, so guess what? It does nothing. The card is either like the most busted card in the history of time or terrible, no in-between, determined specifically by die roll. That's shit design. And then secondly, this Ask Rabbit thing. I agree that like it is frustrating to get Ask Rabbited 3 times, but there is only one Thunder card that Nexus is, and it happens to also be the Hand Rip card. I'm just saying. The reason they can't ban Ask Rabbit, in my opinion, is because there's nothing else Thunder does. It's the only thing Thunder does. There's nothing that Thunder even does outside of Ask Rabbit. All right. That's all I got to say. I haven't played much Elestrals, but can't people just circle this guy for Ask Rabbit? They can, and they don't. So maybe that should give you some understanding of how good that is. Just print better Thunders. Oh, I guess I can reveal this. In Prototype, Thunder was far and away the worst element, which is why there were a couple of like Skull Clamp style changes at the last minute. Ask Rabbit to 5 toughness, Sparkitt to targeted discard. And they changed it from this unplayable strategy to like the best deck in the game. Did you tell them the new thing, Rothschild? I haven't. You still got to tell me what you want to play. All right. That's it from me. Bye-bye.